The Fender HotRod Deville has two inputs, and personally I was just plugging into input 1 and that was the end of it. So what's the point of input 2? So we'll need to do a bit of pretend work. This is obviously my Eric Clapton Blackie Strat, but for this video let's pretend this is a standard Stratocaster with passive single coil pickups, which there's no preamp and they're a lower input. So input 1 on the amp is actually louder than input 2 by about 6 decibels. So if I had to plug a standard Strat into input 2, it would sound quieter, the signal would be weaker, it wouldn't break up as natural. Hear that? Whereas input 1. So you might think, well, what's the point in input 2? Let's just use input 1. Well, let's say you're using a guitar with humbuckers. What input then? Well, it really much depends on the humbucker itself and your preference. Some vintage humbuckers are absolutely fine in input 1. But some modern humbuckers are quite hot and they can overload the front end of the amp pretty quickly, and that way you'd be more inclined to use input 2 and take advantage of that 6 decibel cut. You can see you've got a lot more headroom. That brings me on to the quarrel I've got myself, because I use this Strat quite a lot and it's obviously single coils, but it's an active EMG, and in input 1 they're really nice and clean. And sometimes you actually like to, have I got one lying about, really push that amp. What's in here? Maybe with something like a blues driver or a fuzz pedal, or one of my favourites, a big muff. And we've also got a preamp in the guitar itself, like we do on the Blackie Strat. This guitar is currently, the volume is just under 3, it's just over 2.5, and it's far too loud for this wee room. But if we come to input 2, we can take advantage of that. It's pretty much like a built-in attenuator, that 6 decibel. This guitar is still pretty hot. So input 2 will allow me masses of headroom compared to input 1. I use all my gain pedals and my big muffs, my distortions, and it'll be a much cleaner tone, and it reacts different to how the amp takes pedals. So basically, if you've got a Fender amp with 2 inputs, don't be scared to plug into input 2 now and again. Try for yourself, see what works for you, and you might find, wait a minute, input 2 is a far better choice for me. Or maybe input 1 is fine. As I say, there's no right, there's no wrong, it's personal preference depending on the tone you're looking for. Today for me, input 2. Next week, I might be on here saying input 1, much better. But I hope that helped.